started into this little story time, let me go ahead and say this. Please do not take your IUD out by yourself.
Ugh. Brother, ugh.
Go to a doctor. It's weird, it's gross. If you get an infection, then you deserve every bit of it. Just go to an OB. I got it put in because I thought I was going to be sexually active at that point. Turns out that guy was a weirdo. Ended up not even being sexually active until a ways down the road. So here's the thing. When I got the Liletta put in back in 2018, it was brand new, brand spanking new. Like, there wasn't even a whole lot of well-known side effects that went along with it. So I was like, stupidly enough, I was like, yeah, sign me up for that. I've heard of women, I've known women to have gotten pregnant on the Mirena. So I didn't want the Mirena. And I heard that the copper one makes your coochie smell like fish. Here's the thing.
Ugh.
If something makes your coochie smell like fish, it's throwing your pH balance off. Go fix that. I don't know if with the copper one, if that can be fixed. I don't know nothing about that. I ain't never had that. So I just heard that it make your coochie smell like fish, and I don't want none of those problems. So I was like, give me that new junk. So they gave me the Liletta. Insertion was not painful. I did feel a tiny pinch, but I mean, like, it wasn't painful. Even afterwards, it was a little awkward because I could feel the strings, but it wasn't painful. Please keep in mind, I've had 4 kids. That plays a role. The last one, she basically fell out of me. So no, I'm not going to experience a whole lot of discomfort with an IUD versus someone who has never had kids or has only had 1 or 2 kids. You're gonna experience some discomfort because your vagina hasn't been traumatized a whole bunch of times. So keep that in mind if you don't have kids or if you do have kids. And if that's something that you're concerned about, you got kids, chances are you're not gonna feel a whole lot of discomfort. If you don't, chances are you probably will. I bled profusely for months after insertion. Like, it was bad. I bled like a stuck pig. It was awful. So I would bleed for like 3 weeks straight, 3 weeks straight, and be off for like a week, week and a half, and then bleed again for another week, and then be off for like 2 days, and then bleed for a whole month. Like, it was just really sporadic, and it was a lot of bleeding. After some tests, they did find out I was a taint anemic, but that was because of all the blood loss. They ran a bunch of tests, did some blood work. I had gotten a vaginal ultrasound just to make sure everything was fine and dandy. Turns out I am ultra fertile. Didn't know that was a fucking thing, but apparently it is. So I ended up getting put on orthotricycline low, high, one of the two. I tried one, it didn't work. I tried the other one, it regulated my period, but I felt like, dang, it's making me have even more of a period because birth control pills, they send signals to your brain to ovulate and to do all of the things. So I'm just like, well, maybe it's making me bleed a lot. But it wasn't until I was explaining all of this to someone, and they were like, why would you have all of those hormones in you? That's like really bad. You have an IUD that's emitting hormones, and then you're taking hormones on top of it. That's bad. You should probably stop. So I did. I weaned myself off of the birth control pills. It was just the bleeding. I didn't notice any other symptoms. If there were other like side effects, they weren't bad enough for me to recognize them. I was more focused on not bleeding so fucking much. I did not notice any issues with acne. I had taken the depot shot right after I had my daughter, and it was only one shot, one time. It was years before I could lose that weight. I know I went well beyond 220 pounds. When I weighed myself and I saw I was 220, I was so depressed that I refused to weigh myself anymore. So I just didn't. And I know that I gained way more than that. So I wasn't able to start losing the weight until after I got on the Liletta. I did get like stupid, ultra mad, scary skinny, but that was due to depression. So the only major side effect that I experienced with the Liletta, and especially right at the beginning, and I'm apologize for being so crass right now, but I don't have any other words to put it. I was horny.
That's what she said. That's what she said. That's what she said.
And not just who, you know, like I'm attracted to a lot of people. It was like, no, I don't even care about attraction. I gotta bust one. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know it sounds like, oh, that doesn't sound like that would be a problem. It's a problem if you're single. It's a problem if you're single. And it is a problem because, especially if you have a lot of other things to do. Like, I can't just stop in the middle of my day to do this. It felt like it was becoming a chore. Comedians always have this bit where they're like, oh, women say that they're horny like men. And it's like, no, you've never done X, Y, and Z. Well, I have. It got bad. It got very bad. To a point, well, I'm not gonna say all of that, but it got bad. It got real, real bad. After my period started regulating, like, and let me go ahead and say this, you're not supposed to have a period on the Liletta. It's supposed to thin out your uterine walls so that way you don't bleed, or you don't bleed as much. But me, being ultra fertile, I'm gonna bleed. But for whatever reason, the hormones that the Liletta gives off, it just nips that shit in the bud. And let me go ahead and tell you, it works. This thing works. Didn't nobody pay me. Ain't nobody finna pay me. Ain't nobody asked me to do this. I'm telling you from experience, okay? The Liletta is the one to get. If you're not trying to have no babies, if you're not trying to have no scares, get the Liletta. Okay? Trust me on this. There are several times where things could have gone real left, real quick, real downhill. And they didn't. So if not having a baby is the goal, Liletta's the one to get. But yeah, I don't know if this is a side effect that everybody goes through or not, but just in case it is, corduroy pants are out of the question when you have the Liletta. Just don't even do it. You will get nothing done. I promise you. I got the Liletta taken out because I thought it was overdue. I had it put in 2018. I was told it was a 5-year IUD. So I thought, I've been thinking this whole time, this bitch is a year late, overdue, right? I went on the website and the website says that now they're 8 years. And even the one that you got years ago when they said it was 5 years, it's now 8 years. I don't know what that means, but I don't trust it. Get this thing out of me. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. But that's not the reason why I've decided to get this IUD taken out. The IUD, I don't know if this is an IUD issue or not. That's why I'm taking it out. There's a couple of reasons why I'm taking it out and several benefits of taking it out. But it got to a point, like, okay, so again, apologies for being so crass, but people assume, guys assume that me having a bunch of kids and me, I'm not a slim girl. We'll say that. I'm not slim. But guys tend to think that because of these factors that they can just go ham sandwich and go to town like I'm a porn star. I'm not a porn star. Don't do that. With that being said, like, so I know she's sensitive. You gotta handle with care, right? So I had started what I thought was breakthrough bleeding during intercourse, right? So I'd be fucking and then I'd just start bleeding, right? I thought that I was being torn, right? Like you're ripping something's happening. So I'm like, okay, just be careful from here on out. Didn't happen for a while, but then it happened again. And even then, during that time, it wasn't like, oopsie daisy, you went too deep, something happened. It wasn't even like that. It was how you supposed to handle her. And then she was just like, but I'm bleeding. And so I'm like, what is going on? This is weird. So then the more that I had sex, the more that it started happening. So I'm like, okay, let me just pull back for a second and see what else is going on. But then I started to notice that not when I masturbated, but when I'd have an orgasm. If I didn't have an orgasm, it's fine. But 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna have an orgasm. There's just no way, especially if I'm by myself, I'm gonna have me an orgasm. But I realized like, oh shit, I'm bleeding after an orgasm. I don't know if this is an IUD issue or if this is like, maybe I got a polyp somewhere. Cancer does run very, very strong on both sides of my family. My mom's a breast cancer survivor. My daddy died of cancer 2 years ago. So who knows what the problem could be. But this is step number 1 in figuring it the fuck out. So all of that being said, what am I to do now, right? So that was like the very first question that they asked me. Like, so what are you gonna do in place of this? Do you want to get on the pill? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I've gotten pregnant on the pill. I've gotten pregnant on the ring. I've gotten pregnant on the patch. I've never tried the Implanon. And I haven't heard very many side effects of it, but I felt like it was too invasive. And I've tried the depot shot, never again. And then of course, you've got your tubal ligations, but obviously I hadn't had that done. So I've tried all of this different stuff. I'm like, okay, but here's the thing. I want my body to just rest. Like for the last 6 years, it's been pumped with hormones, and a year and a half of that, I was taking hormone pills on top of it. So just let this rest for a minute. Let her figure out what the fuck going on. Let it get regulated. Let her get situated. Then we can move forward with thinking about further like birth control later on down the road. Here's the thing. This is one of the benefits of not having this IUD anymore. I apologize for being so crass, but it is what it is. We're adults here, so I'm just gonna say it how I'm gonna say it. I fucks. Okay, I fucks. I have sex a lot. I love sex. Sex is my favorite thing. It's the favorite thing in the whole wide world. If I could have sex all day, every day, I would. It's my favorite. Okay, I love it. 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 I love sex. I love everything about sex. The last time that I decided to not have sex anymore, like I was celibate for 7 years. So it very well could happen again. I don't know. But I just, after saying all of that and then hearing all of that and then hearing what my doctor's saying, like, okay, but you know, if this is an IUD issue, it can happen again when we put the IUD back in you. I didn't even tell you guys about the removal process. Like, that was the whole title of the fucking video. The removal is easy. Again, I've had a million kids. The last one fell out. So honestly, I didn't even feel it come out. I didn't feel it. I felt the speculum. I felt the, I think are possibly tweezers that he had to grab, whatever pinchers that he used to grab a hold of the strings. And the string, there was one string that was like kind of caught somewhere, but I didn't feel it. He was just saying it and I was like, but it's like, girl, you don't feel it. I watched a few videos because I gotta know what I'm getting myself into. I watched a few videos on it, and you know, everybody was like, all of the doctors would tell the patients to cough whenever they would go to pool. He didn't even tell me to do that. He was like, yo, loosey goosey pussy is just fine. Just yoink, it's out. Bitch, you ain't got no walls for it to perforate, so you're fine. Yo, there are benefits to allowing my body to rest during this period. I would like to get it put back in, give it another go, see if maybe the updated version might actually stop my periods. I don't know. And I'll be able to focus more on the things that I want to focus on, because I am a pretty passionate person and I do like sex and I like to express myself sexually. And sometimes I'll put more energy into someone than what they're worth. So I did a story time a couple months ago about this guy, and yeah, okay, my dumb ass went back to him. It's over with now, but yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway, it wasn't over, but it's over now. But anyways, even him, like, I kept telling myself, well, you know, I've already put in this much time and this much energy into this guy. So when he does fuck up, I do got to give him the benefit of the doubt. Everybody deserves a second, sometimes even third or fourth chance. But after a while, I get fed the fuck up. And when I step back and look at it from the outside, it's like, yeah, he's not worth breakthrough bleeding. Okay, that's not breakthrough bleeding material. Sorry. But yeah, that is an issue of mine. I do put in a lot of time and energy into people that don't necessarily deserve that from me. Not saying that they don't deserve it, they just don't deserve it from me, when I could be putting in my time and my energy into myself. But yeah, I'm going to take a few spiritual trips over the next couple of months. Hopefully I'll be able to document some, maybe all, possibly none, but I'll definitely be able to talk about it. So yeah, that'll, and I'm sorry, I hate to be cryptic about it, But I'm talking like DMT, psilocybin mushroom therapy, which I did go through after my dad died, and that helped a lot. So I'll be, hopefully I'll be able to talk about some of these things in the next coming months. But yeah, like I'm going to be taking this time and not seeing it as like, dang, I'm losing one of my favorite things to do in the world. I'm taking away one of my favorite things in the world to do in order to gain all of these other things. Because when I'm putting that type of energy, if I'm pouring in half of the energy that I pour into other people into myself, like sky's the limit. So that's kind of what I'm on right now. Will I have sex again? Hopefully. I really want to. I really, really want. It's my favorite thing. Yeah, of course I want to have sex again. But again, is it worth it? Is it worth going through all of that? I can't even think of a single guy, past, present, or possible near future, that would be worth any of that. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But that's a lot to have to deal with. You know what I mean? So anyway, I guess I'm just going to be a miserable cat lady. Yeah, so that's my IUD story, I guess. It was a great journey. If and when I do decide to become sexually active again, Liletta's the way to go. I ain't having no more babies. I'll take bleeding every now and again and surprise periods and no babies over all of these different symptoms that you can experience with all of these other birth control methods, and you still might pop out with a baby. So, Liletta the way to go. But until then, it's gonna be an empty bat cave for a while. I'm done talking. Bye.